Welcome to Chemistry at Hononegah High School. Today we'll take a look at our last set of notes, which is really just a review of what we've talked about with concentration. So today's homework, you're going to be working on various problems related to concentration rather than just on percents or just on molarity type things. Now, to review, first thing we looked at, the first type of concentration was percent by mass. Now, we typically use percents when we're dealing with commercial applications because percents are things that most people can understand. And a percent mass, like all percents, are part over whole times 100. The part would be the mass of the solute. The whole would be the mass of the solution, because that's the whole thing, solute plus solvent, times 100 would give us percent mass. Now, there's two types of problems related to percent mass that you got to be prepared to handle. Sometimes they're going to give you the mass of the solution, so we just put the mass of solute on top and the mass of solution that was given on the bottom. But other times they give us the mass of the solute and the mass of the solvent. And in that case, you have to recognize you've got to add the two numbers together to get the whole, which would be the mass of the solution. So be really, really careful. Do they give you the mass of the solution and the mass of the solute? Or do they give you the mass of the solvent and the mass of the solute? They're two different types of math problems. Exact same equation, but in one case we're given the solution, the other case we have to find the solution. Now, percent by volume is a little bit easier because volumes of different substances are not necessarily additive. So they have to tell us the volume of the solution every single time. So it's really going to be as simple as make sure we're in the same units. If they're both in milliliters, we're good. If they're both in liters, we're good. But you do have to watch out for a situation where they tell you the volume of the solute in milliliters and the volume of the solution in liters. But they can't give you that situation like we did with percent by mass, where they gave us the solute and the solvent. That's never going to happen with percent by volume. Now, the last type of concentration we looked at was molarity. And remember, there was three things you need to be able to do with molarity. One, find it. And that's just remembering molarity is number of moles divided by liters of solution. So moles of solute, get it. Liters of solution, get it. Divide, and you have your molarity. The second type of thing is make a solution. And one of the things you need to understand is you're making a solution from a solid here. Because technically the last one is also making a solution, but you're just making it from an aqueous solute. So if we have a solid solute and we want to make a certain concentration in a certain volume, we're going to do two steps. We're going to use the molarity equation, the one we just looked at, to take the given molarity in liters and solve for moles, and then we're going to use molar mass to convert that mole into a mass amount. And remember, if you're actually making the solution, you weigh out that number of grams, you put it into a flask and dissolve a little bit of water in there, and then you dilute it to the volume that you want. So at that point, you may be transferring that to what's called a volumetric flask, or you may be putting it in a graduated cylinder. But once you've got it dissolved, then you dilute it to the final volume. Now, the last one is when you're diluting it. And typically it's another make it situation. It's just that you already have a solution at a higher concentration, and you need to add water to dilute it to a new volume and a new concentration. And you're going to use the dilution equation whenever you see the term dilution. And basically, you're going to know the molarity and the volume you have in the stock bottle, and then you're going to dilute it to a new greater volume, and that's going to lower the concentration. So if we have a target concentration we want to make, we have to then solve for V2 to find out what the new volume needs to be. So we would pour our original concentration and volume into a graduated cylinder, and then we would dilute it to the new volume, and that would give us the new concentration. So those are the three things we need to be able to do with molarity. And really make it and dilute it, talking about the same thing. We are making a certain volume and a certain concentration, but we're just not making it from a solid in the last case. We're making it from an aqueous solution. And that ends our notes.